Keenan Allen with some of the more interesting comments you'll ever hear from a Bears player. And that's right, the Green Bay Packers are here on Sunday. Can the Bears end the winning streak? Glynn Morgan, special guest in studio. Stick around. Locked and loaded on the CHGO Bears Podcast on a very interesting Thursday. Mark Carman, Gregory P. Allen Braggs Jr. getting our tweet out for the show. We love him dearly. Glynn Morgan, formerly the draft analyst, Dominer, NBC Sports Chicago, resident Bears fan in studio today. We've had Glynn in a bunch of times. Adam Hoge at Halas Hall. We'll talk to him. Peter Bukowski. Your guy
stepping into enemy territory. I was trying to get the tweet out. I'm also trying to recruit Lynn to come on the show, maybe host it.
So if Greg found this
Lynn
amazing Bears podcaster name,
gem, Lynn Hayden. Everyone go subscribe to Lynn Hayden on YouTube. I love this lady. She is pure Chicago Bears, everything that is great about Chicago Bears fans.
It's always interesting when you work hard every single day and you dive into the tape and you read everything that people are reading. You listen to what everyone's saying. You be a great teammate, and then you have your guy sitting to my left that wants to go on Twitter and try to get me fired for somebody named Lynn, who we just found out.
What makes Lynn so great?
Yeah, what makes her so great?
She is amazing. She has a YouTube channel for the last 4 years. Okay. She does solo videos like Les Grobstein. She does solo 40 minutes just breaking down the Bears.
Sounds
pure
terrible.
Passion. Right. She's not in it for the clout, for the views, for the clicks, just for the love of the game. Lynn Hayden, I love you. You're a gem.
Hey, Lynn,
Lynn,
for the record, congratulations. I support you too, but it's hard when the guy to my left's trying to get me fired for you. So it does make me feel like I have to rival you. All right, let's get into what matters today. And why don't you throw the Keenan Allen comment that started off yesterday on the screen here, because I don't recall any Bears player ever talking about a coach who was dismissed this way. And I'm not saying that even in a negative way. It's just very honest. Mm-hmm. Keenan Allen on Shane Waldron. I would say he was just probably too nice of a guy. I think during OTAs and training camp, he kind of fell into a trap of letting things go, not holding people accountable. Obviously, those things lead to a slippery slope. That comment is incredible on so many levels.
Damning.
It is, but it's damning to Shane, but it's also damning to the leadership of the Bears. Exactly. Keenan Allen just got here. I get it. And he wasn't exactly at all of OTAs either, but if you're seeing stuff, say stuff.
See something, say something.
Right. Anybody can lead from anywhere. We're all leading all the time.
That's exactly my fourth rant of the week. I'm up to like 7. But my fourth rant of the week was that exact point.
Right.
All these players last 2 weeks spilling everything to the media, talking about what's not going on at practice, talking about the coaches. That's great for us to get the perspective, but now I start to question exactly how great of leaders you guys are, because you guys need to be handling this together.
Well,
and now Keenan's saying it's gone all the way back from the summer. It can't always be your dad holding your hand. You guys gotta do it.
So if it's going back to the summer, it preceded the summer, unequivocally. It had to have. It didn't just happen this summer. It didn't just happen because HBO flew in there and it had Hard Knocks. It didn't just happen because of that. It's something that's been there, but the players, probably to a point, and this is speculative, of course, felt like the coach, Eberflus, is a player's coach.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what does that always mean? Or what does that usually mean? Sometimes it can mean the guys like it because things are a little bit easier than not. There's not a bump, there's not a grind aspect involved. Whereas you may have some coaches where, say like a Belichick, for instance, where you always knew the grind was pretty much going to be there, which usually leads to accountability, which is what we're talking about right now.
So I want to go back, and I'm actually a little bit irritated with myself because I didn't make a bigger deal out of it, although Lord knows there would have been a ton of pushback, and Carm doesn't know what he's talking about. That's on me. I need to not worry about that. Right. But when we watched Hard Knocks and we got to see a little bit more behind the scenes, and here's Matt Eberflus addressing the team, and then they'd show the team. Team's asleep. They were not with him. His message wasn't compelling. And then you see stuff that made its way around Twitter today or this week of Jim Harbaugh just having all sorts of fun with Justin Herbert. And believe me, I think Jim Harbaugh is a weird guy. I've never been a huge fan of his. I think he's a cheater, and I try to have something to let like it's a fact. But would I rather have that guy running my football team because of the way he knows how to win football games? I mean, it's just this is the Bears have sort of been telling this lie for a while now that they have this unbelievable chemistry, that everybody wants to be here. And now you have a veteran who is literally calling out all sorts of nonsense that was going on, that wasn't being talked about, that wasn't being coached. We had to get to week 3 where Mercedes Lewis, 20-year vet, finds like, hey,
exactly, coach us harder.
Hey, coach us harder.
Coach us harder.
So that's just nauseating, honestly.
Well, to your point, an outsider, more or less, Keenan, someone who had been with the team for a while, had to say something, or it was brought to the point that he eventually said something. We saw the same thing play out with the White Sox earlier this past year.
Yep.
Right.
Where a player who had been with the team for a while, it's like, these guys they're not giving their all, they're not this, they're not that. And it's organizationally situated that the problem therein lies.
Yeah, and this week on the 85, I was listening to Cole Kmet talk about it. And just the work ethic that it takes to play at the highest level of the NFL. These guys you kind of want to just step back here and think about what it takes to get to that level.
Right.
You're a completely insane individual. You have dominated on the high school level. You've dominated on the college level. You have spent all the time in the weight room. You have spent a ton of time in the classroom. Now, maybe you're just a physical freak, but that's very, very rare that you would make it that far just based on physical talent. So you are trying to outstudy the top of the top. And the way Cole puts it is that it's a 24/7 deal. And that's the same way that Jalen put it, that I have to, he's at home 8:30 at night and his fiance is there and she's like, you're going to shut that down. But she knows, like, no, I'm not, because that's how insane my job is. And to be successful on this level, I'm competing against the upper echelon and trying to beat them. And so there is a learning curve on getting there. And here, let's throw the other Keenan comment up, because people are like, they're not talking about Caleb and all the comments about, like, the Bears want Tyson Bagent to start, or some players do. I'm sure some players do. Everybody's got different opinions in that locker room. But there's no confirmation that anyone's gone to a coach, and no one's reporting that here, at least. And this is Keenan on Caleb. The talent isn't the question. It's more of the mastering the game plan, understanding what the play is, where the play is, and being able to do it without thinking about it and letting your talent show.
Exactly. I mean,
that's as close to calling out someone's work ethic as you could possibly.
Right, and they've been doing this for the last few weeks. So now, Keenan shines a light on it and says the veterans have continued to say it's about the details. It's about what you do when no one's watching. It's about how you work during the week in practice, and then that shows up on Sunday. Caleb Williams, if you're going to connect all these dots, after the game, he was asked what he needs to get better at. And he said, asking about the details during the week of practice. Okay. So there it is. It's connected. And my big thing was on Sunday, I tweeted out, I'm like, well, the coaches should be demanding the details. No one should be asking for them as players. Right. That should be a foundation of what you are as a coaching staff. And that is why Shane Waldron clearly was shown the door, because this has been going on all the way back since the summer. But to me, the buck stops with Matt Eberflus. Everybody holds their own personal accountability.
Sure.
So Keenan Allen and DJ Moore, even as vets, you got to run your routes. You got to. It doesn't matter if you're Matt Waldron or Caleb's not, getting up to speed as a rookie. Everybody has to control what they can control first and foremost. Certainly. But there also has to be a foundation from the coaching staff to set a precedent of the attention to detail, not asking for them halfway through the season.
So we've been lied to about culture is basically what you're saying, if we're summing this up. And if that's the case, then the buck doesn't just stop with Eberflus. To me, it really pretty much all signs start pointing upward.
Right.
And it goes to polls. It really does.
Yep.
Because you retained Eberflus, so you retained the culture. You said it was okay. You condoned it. You literally condoned it. And I'm not saying Eberflus necessarily had to lose his job. This is going back to last year. I'm not talking about what we know right now, but going back to when the last season ended, you saw a change. You saw something that indicated on the field that these guys were bought in. They were buying into Eberflus. They're playing hard. As fans, we're not privy to all the nuances and the particulars, right? So we just have to go by what we see. And we're watching on the field. We see this defense after Montez gets here, and we see the secondary starting to come into its own, and we see these guys are playing hard, and the offense is doing things better, and they had a chance to win 10 games. They won 7. They were only really blown out of maybe a couple of games, give or take. Everything looked like it was pointing up. And there's no way that you would think that, culturally speaking, that there was an issue in the locker room. And that's the season ended, and we're in the off season, pretty much almost to a man. What did those players say? I'm not going to get into the whole Caleb Justin thing, but I'm talking about everyone being on one accord. The players were like, retain Justin. So you felt, again, another indication that these guys, they're a unit. They're, I don't want to say family, that's kind of, tropish in a sense, but these guys are unified. They're purposeful. And then we see what happened with Hart. Now, and then even getting into Caleb and Caleb and the coaching staff and everyone buying into where they're going. And the Bears on the way up. National media. Bears on their way up.
Players themselves. I mean, Keenan, DJ, and Rome are arguing about who's getting to 1,000 yards first.
Not only that, but Keenan comes here, and we're like, is this guy from the West Coast really going to buy in, a veteran on a one-year deal? He's bought in. Him and Caleb, they seem like they're bros. I mean, everything indicated that this team was on the up and up, that culturally speaking, they're unified.
But you don't know the mark of a man until the bullets start flying.
When adversity hits, that's when
because you talk about what we see. And Mark, I don't know if you were able to see training camp this year, but we talked about it in our training camp recaps. Their practices were dialed back. It's so much so that it was kind of something that was like, this is really noteworthy. This is something that really stands out. Most training camps I've ever been to in 20 plus years of going, it's like 30 minutes of slow period, walk through, little individual stuff, technique, fundamentals. And then they get into team drills about 30 minutes into practice. And you have about an hour and a half to maybe 2 hours of team drill practice where you switch back and forth from 7-on-7, 11-on-11, special teams, and you kind of rotate through those and get your work in. They were going every single day. It was the exact same routine, an hour and 15 minutes of slow period, walk through, individual fundamental stuff, and then only the last 45 minutes, maybe an hour of team drills. And so when you talk about attention to detail, I'm sorry. Now I question your training camp routine.
I mean, I think everything right now is rightfully being questioned. We are coming at you live on this Sunnyside Thursday on the CHGO Bears Podcast. Visit sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Enter the promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. Bright buys every day. Only for 21 and older or Illinois medical card holders. We love our friends at Sunnyside. We saw one of our friends at Sunnyside at the tailgate last week. We're actually going to – Tim Shanley, who runs the tailgate that we do, runs the lot there. We have our corner in it. He has a whole situation.
Another gem.
He is a gem. Him and what's her name?
Lynn.
They should do a podcast.
They should.
You're right. They absolutely
Tim's
should.
got his own show he's doing now. I'm sure we'll talk about it a little bit.
There we go. Well, absolutely, we will.
Guess what it's called? The Tim Shanley Show.
The damn right it is. What else would it be called? All right, Peter Bukowski's coming up here in a minute. I want to delve deeper in with you, Glynn, on where you think Ryan Poles has perhaps made his biggest error to this point. But first, we want to shout out one of our fine sponsors, and I got to put on my glasses because I'm old, and that's just the way it is. All right, hey, Factor Meal Kits, you are awesome. Days are getting shorter. To-do lists, they're not. Power through your busy days with Factor's no prep, no mess meals. Breakfast to dinner, anything in between, Factor's got you. Easy, nutritious. The options are absolutely spectacular. They'll keep you fueled. You'll be feeling your best. They got 35 different delicious meals each week, 60 additional convenience options. You want to make your life easier. You want to make your life healthier. They got the keto cookies, the pressed juices, the smoothies. Braggs, Factor Meal Kits, get going. It's time. Stay energized with America's #1 ready-to-eat meal delivery service. This is what you do. You go to factormeals.com/CHGO Bears 50 and use that code CHGO Bears 50 and you get 50% off your first box, 20% off your next month. That's the code CHGO Bears 50 at factormeals.com/CHGO Bears 50.
That's right.
50% off, buddy. 20% off your next month.
Love it. Can't beat 50% off.
Cannot.
Shout out to our guys over at Empire Today. With Empire Today, you get shop-at-home convenience, the right product for your needs, quick and professional installation, and low price guaranteed. Empire's philosophy is to help you find what you need and not overwhelm you with different things. And as I'm struggling once again here, Carm.
You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
You need some help?
No, I don't need help. I never need help with you, and you don't need help when you're shopping at Empire. Thank you very much. When my stupid mouse pad isn't working, so I apologize. They keep shopping for floors with simple and curated product selection. Empire's philosophy is to help you with what you need, once again, to not overwhelm you with thousands of choices, not overwhelm you with thousands of choices and substitutes. What they leave out is their selection, and it's as important as what they put in. They have a virtual floor designer, which is
amazing. It's amazing.
It's
Love
really
it.
good. Really good. So make sure you schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive a $350 off discount when they use the promo code CHGO. Restrictions apply. See empiretoday.com/CHGO for details.
All right. So as we get ready to give you our Packers preview here, let me go back to that question while we have a second with Peter Bukowski coming up here. Maybe send your guy a note. So where do you think Ryan Poles has messed this up the most? Because let me give you the candidates here.
Sure.
Talent evaluation, coaching staff evaluation.
High on the list.
Actually, those are the two. Let's go with that. I mean, you could talk about the culture and whatnot, but we can parse out talent into free agency versus the draft, but let's just keep it at those two.
I'd say first and foremost with anything, it's looking in the mirror, and what I mean by that is hubris. I think hubris was the thing that's to this point is done in this organization. To think that you have all the answers, and I know as a GM you're supposed to. I think a lot of times we get so caught up in what are we doing, what's being done, what wasn't done. And then every now and again you ask the question, why are you doing this? But I don't believe the why was explored enough. So why are you keeping Eberflus? Did you explore enough of that? What are the ramifications of keeping him? How does that work for you? How does that work against you? Why was it important to take Caleb Williams? That you're so caught on him and stuck on him that February you give him the playbook. Did you do enough due diligence? Did you check? Why is he considered generational? We say generational. That was tossed around so much in the last 7, 10, 12 months, right? Generational. What exactly does that mean? Generational by whose standards? What standard is considered generational? And again, I have no ill will towards Caleb at all. I think he is a phenomenal talent. Generational, you and I, when we had our debate, that was kind of my hang up. I'm like, I'm X amount of years of age, okay? I've seen.
Me too.
I've seen at least a half a century of football.
50 plus 1, if you want to do the math over here. Thank you.
And in that time, when I look at Caleb, there wasn't anything that he did specifically that I didn't feel like I had seen before and done by several people. Not saying that what he did wasn't spectacular, good, or phenomenal, but I didn't think that it was generational. Generational to me, that's a whole different level.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So my point is, were there other things or other people to consider? You had the first pick overall. And again, with our discussion, I said with the first pick overall, you have a unique opportunity to completely revamp this organization in a way that we've seen the Pittsburgh Steelers flourish in my lifetime. 3 head coaches. We've seen the Baltimore Ravens in modern times. We're seeing what the Chiefs are doing right now. And we've also seen what our neighbors to the north, I don't want to mention their names, although we're going to have somebody come on from Green Bay. But we've seen what they've done with just 3 quarterbacks over the last 30 years. So the hubris is, why do you think that he's the answer when you have so many other questions on this on this roster and this organization, from the coaching staff to the player personnel? So I think hubris was the biggest problem.
And so, like, listening to you talk about it, I get to, and let me be clear, I'm not up here saying the Bears need to make a change at general manager right now. But it's worthy of a conversation. But I do think, like, if you're Kevin Warren and you're looking at this, and let's just say for argument's sake, the Bears finished with 6 or 7 wins, and you have to make a decision of what you're doing after the season. I mean, there's got to be some really different level of conversations, more honest level of conversations as to where they're going. And maybe it'll just be the head coach, and you'll finally at least give the GM a chance to hire his guy without some odd direction that we've already talked to this guy. And by the way, you guys are represented by the same people, and Trace Armstrong, and he's really cool, and we like him. I mean, that whole thing was very bizarre.
Hubris.
Yes, there's a lot of hubris right there. But first, let us go up north. What's your Peter Bukowski has been on the show before. Bears fans love him slash hate him to the end of the earth. I appreciate him coming on. Peter's been doing his Packers pod for how long now, Greg?
Long time.
Peter, I want to ask you, what's your favorite stat right now of Bears Packers? Is it the 10 in a row that the Packers have won? Is it 15 of 16 or 25 of 28? What's your favorite?
I like 25 of 28. Just it really gives you the scope of how long this ass kicking has been going on.
Oh, wow.
It's true. 25 of 28.
That's insane.
That's so nauseating. Rags, how do you still do this every day?
I don't want to. I mean, Peter, when you look at what's going on, I know you pay close attention to what's going on in the Bears landscape. Are you surprised to see just how fast it fell off from London to now? It's only been a few weeks since London. It feels like a year, but it's been a precipitous fall off from the 4-2 Bears to now the 4-5 Bears, where it's a mass exodus of firings and calling for benchings and all sorts of other things.
I think if you would have asked me a week ago, I would have said no. Like, I didn't think they were ever quite 4-2 good, but I certainly would not have predicted a 19-3 game against the freaking New England Patriots. Like, that is a level of dysfunction that I did not see coming at all. I just thought the defense was too good for that. They had too many playmakers on offense to score 3 points against the Patriots. It's pretty staggering to see where they are right now. I was never as high on Shane Waldron as some people were. And that was from talking to like people that covered the Seahawks. You guys have like an all-time great moment with Jackson Smith-Njigba that I actually asked Braggs I said, can you send me that tweet? And then the next day he got fired. So it's like one of those things that I don't think anyone could have predicted it would go like this. And like, I'm someone who, if I would have believed that, I would tell you and I'd take the victory lap, but this is even worse, frankly, than I thought it would be. It's even a little disappointing, I would say, from a Packers perspective, because like Bears fans love to yap, and I thought they'd finally have a team that could match the yapping, and they kind of don't.
We don't right now. Of course, we're trying to get all our mojo back by beating the Packers on Sunday here, Peter. The Bears are going to try to turn their season around with their first division game.
Kind of the perfect time for that, right? Like, isn't this the perfect medicine for them? Just to get hype about something, like let's get excited to go play football.
Right.
I don't think Bears fans, I mean, we've always kind of dreaded this matchup, but I think Bears fans, this is the most dreaded I think we've ever gone into a Bears-Packers matchup.
Well, Peter, the Pack have given up 22 plus in their last 3 games. Do you see a scenario where the Bears offense can get well here?
I think I would be more confident from a Bears perspective if the Packers pass rush wasn't predicated on precisely the things that have beguiled this offensive line all season. That is stunts, that is blitzes. They just don't pass things off well. Part of that is because, as you guys know, it's been backups. It's been a rotating cast up there. And so Tevin Jenkins is in this week, but not next week, or he was not in last week, but now he's in this week. And the guy he's playing next to is not the guy he played with the last time he played. Like those things all have a trickle down effect that make it really hard to communicate. And that's in addition to Caleb Williams being a quarterback who holds the ball too long, going back to USC, who runs himself into pressure. And I don't know, what is your perspective on why he seems so afraid now to make plays outside of structure? Like it's almost like he wants to prove a point. Is this my buddy Lauren Cox over at Locked On Bears thinks this is a Matt Eberflus problem, that he's just been so insistent on not turning the ball over? Like, what is your perspective on why that's happening? It is crazy to me to watch him play now, given the way that I watched him play at USC.
Yeah, Glynn, Peter, nice to meet you. To answer that question, I think he's trying to be perfect. I think he's trying to make all the right plays every single time, and it's impossible to do. So he's not playing free. He's not quite robotic, but he's playing with too much caution in his mindset. He's not afraid. I don't think that he is someone's caught by a deer in the headlights. It's not that kind of situation, I believe. I think he's trying to do the right thing all the time, and by consequence, he's not doing most things right at all. And so that's what we're seeing play out.
Did they put too much on his plate, trying to say you're going to do everything at the line of scrimmage? You're going to set protections. You're going to be able to audible. You're going to be able to how about we just focus on you making a throw from A to B first, like most rookie quarterbacks, rather than having you do everything.
You saw that play out just this past weekend when you saw Drake May do exactly what you just mentioned. Keep it simple for him. Make it so he doesn't have to do too much. The other thing, and I talked about hubris earlier, the other thing was, why was there no veteran quarterback on this team? We haven't had one for the last couple of years. Bagent is not going to teach him anything that Caleb may not have already. Caleb's already played more games than Bagent, okay, professionally. So that was hubris on that part. So who is Caleb going to learn from in terms of on-the-field acumen? Well, that person doesn't exist.
They had Nathan Peterman around here last year.
Stop with that Nathan Peterman. I went to Tennessee. He started there. He couldn't hold his water there. You're cursing at me when you say Nathan Peterman.
But
don't do that.
So you wanted an established veteran.
Well, right. Not Ryan Griffin. Because they brought Ryan Griffin into the staff.
Here's a great.
We're having a fight here, Peter.
Who looked pretty good in preseason?
I'll just lay out.
Rypien didn't look bad in preseason. Rypien's been in the league for a while. Rypien's not someone that's going to necessarily challenge Caleb. He has enough experience and how to practice, how to see film, all those kind of things. The other thing, and you and I talked about it a little bit, I believe, was that this is going back several months before the draft happened, but you knew you were going to take Caleb, and you knew Shane Waldron was going to be your head coach. Why would you not get maybe someone like Drew Lock? I'm not saying he's the greatest quarterback in the world, but he's been in the league for a while. He knows Waldron's system. Someone that can help implement and understand the whys and the wherefores.
It's a fair point. Let's lean back to you here. What do you, the Jordan Love part of this equation? A lot of talk this year. Taking too many chances. And I'm like, okay, I still think this is a hell of a quarterback they got up there. And we saw it literally in his first game against the Bears looking so comfortable last year in the opener. What's your interpretation? Tell us what you're seeing from Jordan so far this year.
Yeah, I think he is a quarterback who is clearly very comfortable now taking all the risks that he wants to take. Like, I think there might have been part of him in year one where he wants to do the Matt LaFleur thing. He wants to prove he can run the offense. And he did, right? And we saw in the second half last year, from this point, this very week, the joke is that once Toyotathon happens, Jordan Love is a different guy. That 18 touchdowns and 1 interception the rest of the season. Now I think he's willing to say, look, against pressure, I'm not just going to dirt this ball. I'm going to try and make a throw between coverage because my confidence in my ability to do that is really high. And it leads to some volatility. It leads to, and Matthew Stafford has a very similar trait. They are very similar quarterbacks to me, where their best, you just go, holy crap. I don't know if anyone can make that throw the way that he just did that. And then there are times where you go, holy crap, why did he try and do that? And I think that that's always going to be part of his game. And I've asked Matt LaFleur about it. I said, like, how do you ride that line with him? And LaFleur is pretty dismissive about the turnovers. He does not think it's a problem at all. They're going to continue to empower Jordan Love to do the things that he's good at, because you watch the throw that he made to Jaden Reed a couple weeks ago against the Rams, and you go, that corner probably should have made that play. But he thinks there's no way Jordan is going to make this throw. There's no way he's going to attempt to throw over the top of a 2-shell safety look. There's no way. And then he does, and he's got a baseball turn, and he never finds the ball. And then it's all of a sudden it's a perfect throw right into Jaden Reed's lap. If you want those plays, you have to live with some of the, I'm falling out of bounds and I'm going to try and throw it. And it goes right to a Rams defender and it's a pick six. You're going to live with some of that volatility, because he can, as I said, make throws that just no one else can make. If you can put him in situations where he's not having to do crazy stuff, where he's fully healthy, I think the injury has been a big part of it. It's 2 injuries now with the groin and the knee. A fully healthy Jordan Love is not going to take the same number of risks that a not healthy Jordan Love would.
Well, our expert here on the staff, Mark Carman.
Thank you.
He's easily the smartest person in our whole
Correct.
CHGO Bears team. He proves that day in and day out.
Thank
He
you.
says that Caleb Williams needs to start throwing interceptions, and that'll actually help improve his game. So to your point, with Jordan Love, yes, Carm?
If you're a coach, don't you have to do that? Don't you have to say, we can live with interceptions? We can deal with you making big, loud mistakes if you make big, what's the big time throw PFF stat? It's in the last month, he's made 1 turnover worthy or 0 turnover worthy plays, but 1 big time throw. It's you can't win like that.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. I mean, we are trying to look at Caleb Williams and Justin Fields and Mitch Trubisky and figure out who's a quarterback that is going to meet the echelon that you guys have been used to. So we don't know what great quarterback play looks like at training camp. We're still trying to figure out when you get into a regular season, not on a daily repetition.
We just
basis.
haven't seen it.
That's what I'm saying. So it's one of those things to try to understand, the line from, conservative play to dynamic play and how you reach that point. I know we got to wrap up with you here in a moment. So Peter, I just wanted to ask you, going into this game here on Sunday, what is your expectation? Obviously, the Packers certainly can get to the quarterback. One of the top teams in takeaways. I think maybe the top team in takeaways. And obviously an offense that's struggling. And then on the other side of the ball, you got Matt Eberflus versus Matt LaFleur, with Matt Eberflus on the hot seat, a very, very hot seat. So I'm just curious what your expectation of what this game's going to look like on Sunday.
Yeah, I do think it is interesting. And I talked about this on my show. I talked about it on social media, that there's this perception that the Packers offense is struggling, and they're 5th in offensive DVOA and 8th in EPA per play. They've been a top 10 offense all year, even with 2.5 games of Malik Willis. I think they're going to get healthy this week. I think that the Packers, their run, the one thing, and I said this I did a stream the other day, when a team has a bad run defense, the Bears are 30th in run defense DVOA. Coaches have no problem just saying, we're going to run the ball 40 times today. If you have a bad passing defense, sometimes you can lull a team into being a little more aggressive than you should be. Teams are just going to run and run and run. And we saw that against the Colts with Malik Willis. They ran it almost 50 times for 250 yards. The Packers with Josh Jacobs, top 5 rushing offense. I think they're going to run the ball on this Bears defense. And if they try and start playing single high, that's when the Packers can go over the top with Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs and Tucker Kraft, who's developed into a really, really good football player for this team. So I think Green Bay is going to score more points than the Bears, which is all you need to do. I think this is one of those, how many times have the Bears scored 20 points this year? 3. 24 points this year. I think it's 3 offensive points. I think it's 2. So I think this is one of those 24 to 14 kind of games, 20 to 14 kind of games.
Scared. So you're scared. That's what this is. Because you're hedging here, Peter. I mean, come on.
Unpredictable new
On
quarterback.
Monday, I sent my prediction.
I think the Packers are going to win by 2 scores. That's not hedging. I think it's going to be 24-14, something like that.
Because I put my score prediction in Monday morning and said Packers win 52-17. So because I'm mad at the team right now. So,
Greg,
well, the odds makers agreed with you because they made it 6.5 when the look ahead line was 3, and then it's already come down a point since the OC firing. And I think it's always should be in that 5 on the road, a divisional game. This is a 1 score kind of game. most times. I just think that the matchups here are pretty bad. And I think that the vibes in Chicago are all time bad. I mean, the whole thing of like not getting 9 sacks and you can't help your quarterback up at the end of the football game. It's got to be a Patriots player. And you have Bears offensive lineman watching the Patriots player help your quarterback up. Like what the actual, I don't know if I can say the word, but you know what I'm talking about. Like that is, the vibes are so bad. Players walking off the field. I can't remember, even in all of the bad years of Chicago, stuff like this is like next level craziness that I can't remember happening in Chicago. It's really bad.
We are great entertainment, though. Hey, Peter, thanks for making time, my friend. Appreciate it. And
all right, guys.
He said I was level-headed on Twitter. Can you believe that?
I mean,
I've tricked him.
Yeah, I don't know what. Your relationship is a beautiful one. Peter, we'll see you again end of the year, hopefully. Take care, brother.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
From Locked On Packers, thanks again to Peter Bukowski.
We're going to get to Adam Hoge out at Halas Hall in a couple of minutes here. But first, let's get you caught up on our friends at Sunnyside. Sunnyside, your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, a place where all kind of visitors are welcome to explore and discover and, of course, purchase a wide array of the highest quality products. They've got some new disposable vapes for you, 510 cars, live resin gummies. There's a Good News Island vibes, destination relaxation. Maybe you could use that, Braggs. It'd be good for you. Good News Island vibes. It's the Puff Puff Paradise. They got literally everything for you.
You're a Puff Puff Paradise.
I am. I absolutely am. And by the way, if you're a pro out there, you know this game well, they've got you covered with 100 strains on the menu, and new ones are added weekly. You're going to love the Cresco, the Florical, incredible quality. Check out their locations all over the city, Wrigleyville, River North, the suburbs, Champaign, South Beloit. They're there for you. Or visit Sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Enter that promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary, bright buys every day, only for 21 and older or Illinois medical card holders.
Want to give a big shout out to Game Time. I'll be heading out to Game Time, heading out to Soldier Field because of Game Time here on Sunday with our guy, Big Dave from CHGO Bulls. Nice. So we'll be documenting the entire day, and hopefully it ends in a Bears win.
Does that mean you're not doing the pregame show and or the postgame show?
Don't worry about what I'm doing. You just worry about what you're doing, and what I'm doing is hitting up Game Time. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite team play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only the incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Game Time Picks curation makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, all-in pricing. Now you can toggle this feature and see the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout, unlike some of those other sites that try to trick you at the door, show you the price, then you get through 5 different pages and it's twice as much as the amount it showed. Seat views, you get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. Get the perfect view of what you're looking at the stadium. Lowest price guaranteed, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. And Game Time ticket coverage, your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHGO for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it?
It is game time. Hey, before we get to Adam Hoge, just to thank you to everybody. We are closing in on 70,000 YouTube subscribers. I think right now we're at 69,953. Really? Is that right, Steven?
I'm going to pull up the live counter.
Can you get a live counter?
While we're pulling up the live counter, I just realized, like, when we do this what time is it Game Time thing, like, Will Purdue is in our studio all the time. We have to do this with him. It's like
It's culture.
Like a childhood memory right there. What am I doing? Will Purdue, get in here.
I love Will Purdue. Will Purdue will be on the Bears show. He promised me that, and it'll happen. So we're at 69,954. I'll do the math for you because Greg can't.
46. The 4-6 defense, baby. Doug Plank. Let's get to it. Subscribe to the channel.
That's impressive that you got that. That's right. 46.
Impressive. Jesus, no hope in me whatsoever.
Zero. Did you graduate high school?
44.
Terry Schmidt,
Did
44.
you graduate high school for real?
44.
Did
Nick Kwiatkowski.
Terry Schmidt. I'm going
Right?
before your time. Terry Schmidt.
Quentin Daly for
back.
the old school people out there. Hey, so 44 way, we'd love to do it during the show. We greatly appreciate everybody who has subscribed to this point. If you haven't, of course, we're here Monday through Friday doing Bears shows at 1 o'clock, all the pre and the post. Breaking news, we were up here, I don't know, 8:30 in the morning the other day when Shane Waldron learned that he was no longer a part of the Bears. And, of course, everybody else for our Blackhawk show, our Cubs show, our Sox show, our Bulls show, Big Ten, Joey Christopoulos doing a great job there. So we appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button and tell a friend too. All right, out to Halas Hall we go. Adam Hoge is covering on his Thursdays here. A lot going on. Jalen Johnson talking, Chris Morgan talking, Kerry Joseph's talking about Caleb, the Bears quarterback coach. Hoge, I think you want to start with Kerry. Is that right?
Well, I want to start with Caleb. He's the quarterback of the Bears. He's pretty important, as you guys know. What's going on, Glenn? Good to see you, my friend.
Hey, Adam.
But Kerry Joseph being the quarterback's coach is why I want to start there. We don't get to we get to hear from these guys every couple of weeks. I don't know that we've ever played Kerry Joseph on the show. Maybe we have, maybe we haven't. But there's just kind of like the discussion about like what does he need to do better, and then also some of the conversation I know, Greg, you were interested in yesterday in coaching, having Thomas Brown coaching from upstairs and how that might change some of the communication, which I believe it was the head coach himself said the communication needs to be better. So here's a little snippet of Kerry Joseph, the Bears quarterback's coach, and we can react to it after we hear from him.
So now, hey, let's pull the trigger. Let's be smart about it, but be aggressive at the same time.
I know that he's going to be upstairs, so how does that change the sideline communication between you and Caleb?
So basically, me, Thomas, Caleb, we all collaborate together. Hey, we come to the sideline. Chris is there also. Hey, we talk about the last drive. Well, then me as a quarterback coach, get that information to him. As we see the film, what adjustments we want to make, what happened on that last drive, and then also I'm big at, hey, what did you see? Because from the sideline behind there, it's different. So I want to hear what he saw, so we can all come together and say, okay, look what the picture is showing. Think this way. Got to have that conversation. You got to have that communication. So that's how we plan on working.
I know people always talk about quarterback development isn't always linear, and that sometimes there are jumps. Jordan Love's an example of that last year, where his first half wasn't great and the second half was. Do you guys point to that, or point to other quarterbacks around the league and go, look what happened to them?
I'm pointing to Caleb and the Chicago Bears. What can we do to make sure that we got him going in the right direction? That's our focus. You mentioned no disrespect to your question, but hey, because he's different.
Yeah, sure.
He's not Jordan, so I don't know what they did with him. Right. But I know where we want to go as an offense, collectively, to help all of our guys. Right. Because we have a lot of talent, and we got to get everybody involved so we can put the plan together.
You mentioned Thomas, but what's the value of his presence in a week like this and a stretch like this?
Oh, you know what? He's authentic. I love Shane, and prayers go up for him and his family. I've been with him for 4 years. Mm-hmm. He's done a lot for me in my career. Just Thomas, his approach. Thomas is Thomas. He's going to keep it real with you. He's going to be straightforward with you, and he's going to be honest. So you better take it and you roll with it, and you respect it. And like I said, I've been knowing him for a few years now, and he's never changed. So, and I think for him, just taking a step forward and standing in front of the team and say, hey, this is how we're going to roll with it. This is how we're going to get it done, from the meeting rooms to the practice field to the game, and then we're going to do it all over again. That's who he is, and that's how we're going to roll.
So there we go. Kerry Joseph, Hoge, I assume recorded that or whoever, doesn't matter. What's your takeaway from that, Adam?
It does matter. That was a CHGO production. Thank you very much. We did not lift that from anybody else. So a couple things, guys. Like one thing is Thomas Brown. Some of the words that Kerry Joseph went on to use talking about him, and we heard from Chris Morgan too, and I think a lot of the players have echoed this week too. The word command, his voice, attention to detail. I think that there's a consensus here that Thomas Brown is going to, regardless of what the results may be. I mean, there's a lot that will end up going into that. But I think Thomas Brown has commanded the attention of the Bears players, and it sounds like coaches this week too. So that's at least a positive. When it comes to Caleb Williams, guys, first of all, I look forward to a day where maybe this is a dream, but I look forward to a day where we don't have to, ask about the opposing quarterback and try to compare. Like, you think they do that in Kansas City with Patrick Mahomes ever? Like, you think they're like, oh, you're playing, I don't know, Bo Nix this week. Like, no, this is a thing we get into in Chicago because we're always looking up to the opposing quarterback. Right. And so I still have my hopes that Caleb Williams will get there. In the meantime, what can be addressed this week? Kerry Joseph talking about Caleb needing to slow his eyes down, slow down his thought process. It's apparent that in the last few weeks, for whatever reason, the game has sped up for Caleb Williams. And I think it had gotten to the point where in London it had slowed down. Kerry Joseph said that can happen sometimes, and so why did that happen? Well, I think it's a number of different reasons. We can blame the O-line. We can blame the offensive coordinator. I think one of the reasons is the rhythm and timing has gone, completely whack. Part of that, I think, is some of the route combinations not being married to the feet of the quarterback. Some of that might be on the quarterback for not having his timing right, but they got to find that rhythm and timing. And then one conclusion I have, from talking to Kerry Joseph and talking to a number of different people this week, Caleb Williams needs to own some of this too, and he needs to dial in more, quite frankly. He needs to dial in more on the playbook, dial in more on the game plan, dial in on the execution so that when he gets up to that line of scrimmage, he knows exactly what to do, what he should be doing at least, regardless of what the results end up being, because I think that is also something that's gone astray here in the last 3 weeks.
I have a question for you, Adam. Do you get the feeling, and this is respectfully to Waldron being gone, that now that he's no longer there, the men in charge are like, now we can do things the way we want to do things? These are the elements that we see that need to be implemented more so that we're not being addressed. Does it seem as though they seem to have more of a command in terms of where this direction-wise, where they want to go with Caleb?
I think it's a great question. I think that might apply more to the run game actually than what's going on with Caleb, and I'll get to that here in a second. But when it comes to Caleb, I think it might be more just about having a new voice, and I'm kind of hypothesizing here a little bit, but let's say like Caleb was bought into Shane Waldron. I think we've heard enough from some of these wide receivers recently that maybe not everybody was totally in love with whether it's the personnel usage or the routes that were being used or just, going off the body language on the field. I do think that there's a much better chance this week that everybody will be bought into the message that Thomas Brown is bringing. So I think that's important when it comes to the Caleb side of things. Now, when it comes to the run game, one of the questions I wanted to get answered, or, just to kind of check a box with Chris Morgan, the Bears offensive line coach, who's also the run game coordinator this year for the first time. I asked him point blank, do you still have that title? Like, just making sure that nothing changed this week when it came to that, because that could have been something that they kind of sort of just changed behind the scenes but didn't bother to announce. But he said, nope, I'm still the run game coordinator. None of those responsibilities have changed. The day-to-day tasks that are involved in that are still the same. And and then he had nothing but praise for Thomas Brown after that. So again, I have no idea if there was an issue there, or they weren't seeing eye to eye. What I do know is that the film to me showed that the run game concepts were not consistent, not always in sync, a little bit all over the place. And so if there is a world in which Chris Morgan and Thomas Brown see a little bit more eye to eye on that, it wouldn't shock me if we also see that adjustment on the film ASAP by Sunday.
Yeah, certainly excited to see, what kind of changes. I mean, they can only go up from what the New England Patriots game was. So I guess
winning the Super Bowl, start saying it now. Let's go. This was the change.
You're going to stop saying things into the microphone. So
I hope not, because I booked a vacation starting Super Bowl Sunday already, so they are not allowed to go to the Super Bowl. Wow. I made that bet already.
Wow.
Suspension.
Wow.
Suspension, Tony.
This is grounds for suspension.
Upper management signed off on it.
Oh, they did.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Well,
wow.
guess
They
what?
did.
Then upper management's fired. Everybody's fired. Flus, go.
What happened in the last 24 hours? You wouldn't even get out of bed yesterday. Now you're talking Super Bowl?
I'm not talking Super Bowl. I'm just saying, like, that's anyway.
Do you have a question?
Yes, I have a question. Put your hand down. So, I know you had a chance to talk to Jalen Johnson in the locker room. I'm curious to hear what he had to say. Obviously, Jordan Love has had a propensity to give the ball to the other team, so I'm hoping he does that a few times here on Sunday.
By the way, you're way nicer to Carm when I'm in the room. I've noticed that on my Thursday hits. There's a little bit of a different dynamic. Wow, no objection whatsoever. That was weird.
I said it yesterday. I said it the other day. That's because you're a pot stirrer. You at the tailgate. Everybody acts like you're so innocent, but you are a pot stirrer. And what you just did right there with that little remark makes you a pot stirrer. You can't hide. Now tell me about Jalen Johnson.
Okay, stop yelling, please. Jalen Johnson at his locker, to properly credit the video. This one was from our friend Nicholas Moriano. This is where we'll shift the conversation a little bit more to Sunday and beating the Packers specifically. I think fans will like what Jalen Johnson has to say here, but this starts with just what a win against the Packers would mean to him.
What would a win over the Packers mean for this group?
It would mean a lot. We've been guys with for a long time now. So I know I don't got to win, so it mean a lot to me personally. So I'm just looking forward to the matchup again. Of course, a rivalry in itself, but they got some good guys. A lot of respect for the head coach and what he does on the offensive side of the ball. So I'm looking forward to it.
Jalen, how is Love different now than he was at the end of last year? Or is it?
I don't know how he was at the end of last year.
He threw a lot of interceptions last year.
Yeah.
I feel like is he still not throwing a lot of interceptions?
No, he's throwing 10.
Yeah, I would say he's throwing. Yeah. Oh, you're saying he wasn't throwing interceptions?
Right. Last year. And you played him at the end of last season, which is why.
No, I didn't. But
the Bears.
I don't know. I haven't really watched him too much. At the end of the day, of course, I see the stats of him throwing interceptions, making some bad decisions. But hopefully he does that in our game. He can come out and have a damn hell of a game against us. But overall, I still feel like he's a good quarterback. He just makes some bad mistakes at times.
You mentioned the coach. What is it about what he does that makes their offense so effective?
Really everything. I would say just mirroring the run game and the pass game. Everything really just starts up front with them as well. They added Josh Jacobs, so it's still a challenge for us to be in the run game. But really just overall his creativity, I would say, just making things look the same and then kind of mirroring different routes and certain concepts off of it. And really just the timing of certain calls. Really a lot of times when you pressure, he seems like he knows to run screen passes and things like that. So he's really just smarter than timing, I'd say.
I know the rivalry tends to be for fans and maybe media as well, but do you feel that rivalry more now as the years have gone on in your Bears career?
Yeah, especially when they 10-0 against us in the last game. So I definitely feel the rivalry, and I want to at least get a win. So just looking forward to it again.
That pisses you off, doesn't it?
Yes.
Brody instigating right there, Hoge.
Yeah, I think I don't know if it's instigating as much as just getting the truth out. These guys, I'll give credit to Jason Leisure. I saw put this on Twitter a little while ago. There's not a single player on this roster that has beaten the Packers as a member of the Chicago Bears. That's a problem, and so that's where. I don't know that they would have – the one thing I disagree with in there is it's not a rivalry when you lost 10 in a row. Like, this really has not been a rivalry. It can be, hopefully, but at some point you need to make it competitive. And if we can just for 1 second – I know you guys have already been doing this today, but, get away from all the drama with the Bears and what's been going on. The reality is that this Packers team is beatable. These guys are not in my opinion, a true Super Bowl contender. Jordan Love has been turning the ball over this season. I think they've done a good job of upgrading the defense from a coaching standpoint, but it's not like the talent across the board is blowing you away. So on paper, it's doable. especially at home where the Bears have played well. And it's a thing that, like, they just needed a little bit of a jump start. And I'm hoping this offensive coordinator change is that jump start, because otherwise I don't think this game would have been competitive at all. I mean, you can't make that argument when they no-showed in 2 straight games and all of a sudden they're going to show up against their division rival. But if there is a window to this playing out in a positive way on Sunday, I think making this change, some of these good vibes, I can just speak for myself being at Halas today. Like, it feels different in a positive way. It feels like there's more energy. And we'll see if that translates at all on Sunday.
So to try to top Jason Leisure and his reporting, I would just like to say that the Bears that have lost the most in this current 10-game losing streak to the Green Bay Packers are Jalen Johnson, who's 0-8, and Cole Kmet, who is 0-8. That's the top of the food chain as far as experiencing it. And, like, when you think about it from Cole's perspective, and he talked about it on the 85, you grew up here. You're a Bears fan. You're playing in Soldier Field. You're playing in Lambeau. Your sister now is dating a Packer. Can this game mean more to anybody than 85? I mean, seriously.
Got to block that guy, too. He's the defensive end. He's going to see him during the game multiple times.
Extra motivation right there.
I mean, that is unfortunate, and hopefully I don't know if miracle is the right word, but it feels close to a miracle.
I tried to get them to promise me they'd win.
Okay. Hey, Adam, before you get on out of here, as we get to the top of the hour, do you have any reaction real quick to Keenan Allen yesterday? Because that happened after our show and his comments.
Yeah, just specifically on Shane.
Or even when he's talking about the quarterback, wherever you want to go with it, really.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's a dose of honesty that is refreshing, and I think was timed in a way where I don't necessarily – I mean, I know it's being talked about now, but I don't necessarily think like it stirs the pot anymore. I just think it's, an honest reaction to the news that played out. I don't think it's something he would have said if Shane Waldron was still here. So, yeah, I mean, look, we don't even really need to read between the lines anymore. Like, this was a welcome change. Caleb needed it. The offense needed it. Keenan Allen needed it. DJ Moore probably needed it. Cole Kmet probably needed it. Everybody needed it, right? Like, and nobody ever wants to see somebody lose their job, but it happened. I think schematically it'll help. I think from an energy, confidence standpoint, it'll help. It's just unfortunate. There's nothing you can do about it now. In my opinion, though, this should have been done last week so that you could at least guaranteed not guaranteed, it's the NFL, but had a much better chance to go out on Sunday and realize the results and see it all play out. There's no chance they would have scored 3 points against the New England Patriots if they had made this move a week ago. And instead, now they got to go up against their division rival. And while it could set up for a dream scenario where you get back on track, you get that huge win. I mean, this could be the type of game that sparks the rest of the season. That's on the table. I do think this roster's good enough for that to possibly play out. More likely, though, we know how this series goes. We know how this rivalry goes. We still have all the same question marks about if the defense can stop the run and can Matt Eberflus coach in the fourth quarter. That's all still there. And so logic tells you that even if the offense gets sparked this week, it's going to end the same way. And then what does everybody feel like coming back in the building Monday when they just lost to the Packers for the 11th time in a row? That's the problem. I really wish they had made this move last week.
Noah D in the chat just said, if the Bears beat the Packers, Braggs shaves his head. I will agree to that, Noah D. If the Bears beat the Packers on Sunday, I will shave my entire head and everything. I don't care.
And
That's
score
so
30
incredible.
points, though.
Yeah, forget the 30 points. Forget the 30.
Real quick, Adam.
If the Bears beat the Packers, I'll shave my head.
Hey, Glynn, before you do that, just we have extra time today, and we're going to get Tim Shanley in here, who runs our tailgate in a minute. But just want to remind everybody as we close in on 70,000, and as we wrap up the hour here, become a diehard. AllCHGO.com. Discount on the merchandise. Discount on our events. Discount on literally everything we do here outside of, and then you get access to our Discord channel which that's become my new thing. When I get on the train,
Free shirt when you sign up.
Free shirt when you sign up. And when I get on the train, I get in my Discord. I hang out on my phone with everybody in there. We talk Bears for a good half hour on my way home, which is enjoyable. So you get a little access to, yours truly and everybody else. So it's all sweet. Become a Dyer. We appreciate everyone who's done it before. AllCHGO.com.
And we're on Roku, Samsung, Xfinity, right? We're moving up the chain, baby.
We are. Back to Glynn.
Real quick, yes, no, or maybe. Is it possible that the Bears have a good loss and things not be seen negatively and with an impetus of going forward to build on?
I'm going to say yes in the context of if we get back on track with the idea that Caleb is what matters most. If there is a scenario in which Caleb plays really, really well, but the Bears still lose, at least maybe you feel – in fact, depending on what your opinions are on what you want to end up happening with the head coach, that might be the best case scenario. Caleb plays well, but you don't beat the Packers, and so you still get your coaching change. I still think it's best if they win, obviously, but because I think that's they really got to get their monkey off the back with this Packer thing. It's gotten to that point. You got to just everybody needs to know that it is capable to beat this team.
It is not.
It is, and it will be done. I just don't know. No one knows if it'll be this week. Adam, anything else?
Montez Sweat back at practice today, according to Eric Washington. I don't know if you guys hit on that earlier, but that's good news for the defense because he's still banged up and probably will be for the rest of the season, guys. But the more games you can get him out there, the better.
That is a key guy to have healthy on Sunday if the Bears are somehow going to get this done. Adamo, you did a great job on your Thursday Halas Hall, buddy.
Thank you, boys. I got to run. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday.
Thank you so much. All right, Adam Hoge out at Halas. He'll be, of course, at our tailgate on Sunday. Come on out. We're going to talk about that with Tim in a matter of a couple minutes here. But, Glynn, before you vacate the set, I want to know when the Bears were 4-2,
right? And
Caleb Williams had thrown 4 touchdown passes. Could have thrown 6.
Yeah.
Did throw 1 pick, which I'm encouraging. Let's throw some interceptions here. It's good for not the one that he threw in the Jacksonville game because DJ was wide open. I didn't get that. But, challenging balls that are in a tight window that don't work out, I'm cool with it. How surprised are you, the astute football observer that you are, that we are sitting here right now? Like, could you say, like, hey, man, I was looking at the way this was going, and yeah, they were winning games, but they were against bad teams. There was miracle wins against Tennessee. You're not going to, Will Levis is not going to flip the ball to Tyreek Stevenson. You can't count on that. Or were you thinking, I thought, wow, can only go up from here. Dude's just going to keep on getting better.
I had cautious optimism. I thought back to Trubisky against Tampa Bay in 2018. Where I think he threw 6 touchdown passes. Yeah. He had 24 that year, so 1/4 of them came just in that game alone.
Yeah.
So I was saying, okay, you're improving. Let's see what happens when you play against basically the guy that won the Heisman right after you did. And I also took into account that those were not 2 good teams that they played in Carolina and Jacksonville. But you saw progression. It's like you need those kind of games so you can build from something. And that was, again, cautiously optimistic. But I was very upset with the Indianapolis Colts game, and like, what are we doing here? I was very upset that week because
threw it 50 times.
Not just that. Very frustrated about that because you're exposing him again. And like, what are we doing here? But consequently, I'm seeing what other teams are doing. Malik Willis was winning his 2nd game. He hadn't been on the team. He didn't get to the team until late August.
Right.
I'm looking at Pittsburgh win. I'm looking at Washington win. I'm looking at Jaden Daniels do great things on big time, a game on a Thursday night game, I think against Cincinnati, and I'm watching other organizations do things that I'm like, why are we not doing this? This is a recipe for disaster if we're not careful. That was the Indianapolis Colts game. Cautious optimism with Carolina and being in London, because being in London is not a small thing because you're taking your team across, there's a lot of things you have to account for. You don't normally have to account in terms of what you do, in terms of your routine and everything. So that was kind of like a fool's gold, in a lot of ways.
That's what it looks like right now.
But really, I mean, they could still be a winning team right now and it'd be fool's gold. That's the thing that's the biggest disappointment to me. They could have beat the Colts. They could have beat the Patriots and even squeaked one away against or stole one from Washington and be sitting here with 7 wins right now. I'd be ready to throw the parade for the Super Bowl. But at the end of the day, they still hadn't have beaten anybody. That sentiment would still hold true. And that's the thing that's most disappointing to me. They didn't take care of the things that they should have taken care of. Now you're facing a gauntlet that you're not ready for. Yeah, that's clear as day. I probably would have been fooled by it had you had 7 wins at this point. I would have talked myself into, oh, they're ready for this now? Now I know for a fact they're not ready for it.
That kind of goes to what I said earlier about the why. We talked about we react so much to what has happened and what they're doing, and maybe a question's asked, why'd you do this? But you didn't really explore the why. And now you get to see that, okay, why were you successful against those teams? Why were you barely winning against those teams? What were you doing differently then than you're not doing now? And I fully believe that they've been exposed. That's what happened. The why, like Shane Waldron, why are you calling this play?
Right.
Why are you having DJ Moore on these screens in a situation where you're not maximizing the ability? Where is Tyler Scott? Where is Roshan Johnson?
The Tyler Scott thing's driving me nuts. Not necessarily because of Tyler Scott, but and I'd like to see Tyler get a shot, that part of it. But also, look, man, if you have guys who are checked out there, then they should not play. Hey, man, I don't care what your resume is or how much money you're making, how long your deal is or how short your deal is in regards to both Keenan and DJ, and not to put them on blast. But they've had some awkward moments this year. Let the second-year guy get out there and give it his all and see what happens.
Well, it speaks to player utilization. I mean, you have Khalil say, thank God, on his tweet when he's left, and he went to a team that was under 500. What are we doing here? Why are you not using these players? Why did it seem like a good idea to use Doug Kramer in that situation?
It's completely insane.
Why? Are you asking
stupidity,
yourself why?
That's why.
well, you're not asking yourself, and not just Shane Waldron, but then Eberflus. Like, why are you not challenging your offensive coordinator on some of these play calls?
Yep.
I don't think they examine the why enough, and maybe now they are.
We shall see. Glenn, it's always a pleasure to have you in here, my friend.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Always.
Pleasure being here.
We will, of course, do it
Next
again.
time we have you in, we're going to be breaking down every single player on the offensive line that's coming out in the draft.
Will Campbell?
There you go. Will
Who should
Campbell.
they have picked last year that they didn't?
Offensive line-wise?
Yeah.
Couldn't get to him because the Chargers took him.
Right,
Okay.
Joe Alt. And if he had been at 9, I promise you they would have drafted Joe Alt.
I'd have been okay with that.
I guarantee they would have, but he was never falling there.
Yeah. All right, let's
and Frazier, center. We definitely needed that. Who's balling out with Pittsburgh right now out of West Virginia?
Yep.
Second-round pick.
There was 14 centers at the combine, and 12 of them I was really impressed with, and Frazier was one of them.
Well, that speaks to the other thing in terms of that draft pick, number 1 draft pick, and getting more draft capital, because there were so many things that the Bears needed that were in this last draft. Edge rusher, offensive linemen, specifically tackles and centers, receivers galore, and things that we got a punter.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, Glenn. Well, we appreciate you. Let's switch. Let's make the switch out here. Is Tim
line change?
Tim, you're in.
Tim's in. Thank you, Glenn. Appreciate you. We'll see you here soon.
We got to talk about our tailgate. Right over. Glenn's going to get up. You're going to be in that seat right over there. Greg, warm him up. And Tim is the reason why we're having so much fun.
Yeah.
On our tailgates.
Yes. Make sure you go to allchgo.com/events. Our tailgates, every single home game. We are at the corner of Wabash and Cermak with the good, fine people at the Chicago Bears Tailgating Club. And to my left is Tim Shanley, the ringleader of the operation that is the Chicago Bears Tailgating Club. I know me and you have been friends for a long time. You've been tailgating for how many years now in your life?
Well, this is 41 straight.
41 straight. And so I come across you in the early 2000s when I start going to maybe 1 or 2 games a year. And that was back when we were at the 31st Street lot.
Exactly.
And then you got so big there that they were like, all right, we got to move you somewhere else. And then you guys find your way over to the corner of Wabash and Cermak. And I tell people all the time, it is the gold standard Chicago Bears tailgating. There is no better spot for you to start your day on a game day. Whether you're going to the game or you're hitting up a bar, after the tailgate, it is the best place to go. And Tim, you are the one that makes the controlled chaos work and the dance become a beautiful symphony.
Well, thank you for that.
Of
right
course.
off the bat, you know, that's great. And you know what? It takes an army, right? And you got to surround yourself with the right people. For instance, you guys come in, CHGO, you have a spot there, your presence is big. And as long as we surround ourselves with the right people, then we're able to keep this thing rolling the way it is. You see the camaraderie out there and how we all get along.
Right. I mean, that's the thing about it. Because, like, I think a lot of people associate tailgating with, you know, like debauchery and craziness and fights and drunken stupidity.
Sweet and sour.
And that's something, well, and Sweet and Sour is a man of the people, salt of the earth, our guy, Ken Michalski. And the point of it is a family-friendly environment where people have fun, that like young guys like me that want to have fun a certain way, but then families and young people can also be a part of this, where it's a tailgating environment that is something that I think everybody should hold themselves to, that type of standard.
Yeah, you know, I've fought hard for that, especially, like you said, with the reputation that tailgaters have out there, right? I mean, let's face it, that genre can be kind of looked at as, you know, it's 8 in the morning, there's a lot of alcohol, people are off in the corner, no one feels good. I fought that image from the get-go to make sure that everybody's going to be responsible for what we do. We have a lot of people out to keep an eye on things. We have a lot of food, and that culture basically doesn't exist there because we never really allowed it in. We've been very strict and really on top of it to create that family fun atmosphere. Whether you're a Packer fan, for instance, this week, or you're an 8-year-old little kid, you know, everybody's welcome there and the vibe is great. So I'm very proud of everybody involved.
I just want to rewind back because the tailgate, and come on out. We'd love to have you on Sunday. There's room for all. We got over 100 people already coming, but 200 would be great. So listen, this lot, Wabash and 22nd.
Wabash and Cermak.
Wabash and Cermak, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Underneath the green line stop, which makes it very convenient if you want to go train public transportation. I love that move. You know, Tim, if I had seen that lot, I would think, why would anybody ever come to this shithole? Right. But you've turned it into a gold mine. So when you first saw it and you first conceptualized it, take me through that process.
Well, again, it's not the lot itself. It's what we create, because it's all smoke and mirrors, right? You look, like you just said, you look at that place on a Monday morning, you're like, really? You know, look at that place on a Sunday morning when we're there. So it's just done with, again, it's smoke and mirrors. It's just keeping everything clean as much as we can, you know, like you said, and creating that vibe. It's the vibe is what really it is. When you walk in there, it's got that circus type atmosphere.
And let me rephrase, because it's just a normal parking lot. So but I guess when I would look at it, like, you're kind of far away from the stadium.
Absolutely.
Like, this is like, I don't know if I can get people to come over here. Like and the neighborhood is got a ton of stuff right there. You're right next to Wintrust Arena. There's places to eat, the whole thing. But you're still got a distance, and yet you were able to think, well, this could work.
Yeah, well, you know what? I just look at it like, if you build it, they will come. I mean, look at the situation we're involved with out here as far as tailgating in Chicago and across the league. You know, they don't like it. They want to push it out. So I think when it comes down to this and you have people that you know that are going to head out that way, I don't think it matters where you're at. As long as you make it convenient. You know, we have shuttles, and a lot of us, we walk that now. It's not as far as you think it is. It's to Gate Zero, you're less than 1 mile. It's a mile walk if you want it. But, you know, with shuttles and ped bikes and all that, we've made it fairly easy. You could see the transition from that lot to get to Gate Zero. It's not hard to get there.
And if you're there and you want to take the shuttle is free. Am I right about that?
Yes, it is.
That's a nice little perk right there. And there's 3 of them. People were asking me last week, what time do the shuttles leave?
It will just keep coming along. They'll just keep coming until the lot empties out. There's no like restriction on that. We want to make sure that everybody who needs that shuttle will get that ride.
And the earliest one leaves at what time?
They leave the earliest one, I would say, it's right around 11, 10:50. The announcements come out, and then the bus pulls up. You know,
he's already gone by then. Tim.
I have a pregame show to do.
He comes into the pregame show, so he doesn't know how the operation works.
But he's out there, man. I see him out there in the trenches.
People ask me, I'm trying to get the people served. You do what you do.
I serve the people. Thank you very much.
So you stay in your own lanes out there. That's another thing that comes down to this type of party. You got to have people doing the right thing.
Crystal comes out pretty much every week, and she's saying in the chat that she takes the walk. So, I mean,
it's an easy walk.
You know, hey,
it's
one of the walkers out there.
Shuttle
There's
or
plenty.
walk, you got your options, but both are easy to do.
Absolutely.
Tim, I mean, yeah, going back to your story, you've been tailgating for 41 years. You know, you've created this community. Everybody's kind of helped create it themselves as well.
Absolutely.
But somebody's got to be the one to take all the calls and make it all work. And like, what's it been like for you to watch it develop into what it's become? And I know you've had so many different benchmark moments where you were on like the Food Network, and different players and celebrities have come to the lot. And like, what's that experience been like for you as you know, building this culture of not just the game, but, you know, having these family moments at a tailgate?
You know, it is a lifestyle. It has become a certain lifestyle. And to have those accolades come your way, like the Food Network, you know, that was very surreal, you know, to be acknowledged in that way. And now we've had 3 appearances on there, you know. So I think what it was like with the blinders on, hard work, just really going at it, really in the trenches, you know, trying to build it that way. So as the accolades come along and all of that, at this point now, it's a very calming experience. I don't want to say it's become the norm by any means, but enough of it has happened to me to where I can handle these situations a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, there's a lot of players that come by our lot. And I think the reason is that, you know, we're off campus, right? And the vibe in there is where they feel safe. Like, you know,
I'm not ripping them apart like South Lot.
You know, right. They'll get crushed out there, right? And I think that attitude with me as well, to where, you know, it's great to have them there, you know, but to be overwhelmed and have them guys getting chased around in there.
There'll be somebody in the lot of note, you know, and we don't want to put anybody on the spot, but you'll have somebody a note there, and there'll be people on the other side of the lot that don't even know it,
right?
You know,
exactly.
And so that's kind of the beauty of the lot, like you said. I think the other aspect that I think what makes you guys special is how you give back. I know we're starting to get into the holiday season, so do you want to talk about the charitable efforts that I know you guys do every single year?
Yeah, thank you for that, by the way. That's a big deal. We do the toy drive, you know, the CBTC toy drive. And so that just started on a whim because, you know, in our genre, we like to help people if we can. And again, going back to the image of tailgaters, right? That image that I fight so hard. If you think about this, we're only there for 48 hours a year. 8 games, 6 hours, whatever, a year, 48, 2 days a year. And I wanted us to make a mark in the community there. I don't want to have that. I don't want to have us looked at a negative vibe. I want people in that community to know who we are. We put our mark out there, and that's why we started the toy drive. And then as we gain steam, and, you know, all of you guys out here, all the big dogs out there, everybody donates. We have all kinds of QR codes coming in to where we get a lot of toys. We take all the money. There's QR codes and things like that too on some of our sites, on Tailgreeter, by the way. And all that money will go in. They want us to purchase the toys. So it's all transparent. You'll see the receipts coming and matching all the donations that come in. So to take care of these kids in that 3rd ward, it's a big deal. And it's really appreciated.
Well, CHGO would not be on your lot, Tim, if it wasn't for your relationship with
the meatball,
this fine person,
yes,
my buddy,
yes,
Gregory Allenbrecht. So can you just, before we wrap this up, can you talk about the anatomy of your friendship with Greg?
Yeah, well,
how
absolutely.
did it happen?
Well, you know what? We talked about it, I think it was early in the year, maybe, you know, when he first started coming around in the lot, you know, and he had this little recorder, right? Remember? Yeah. And we were talking, and he was just starting this, you know. And that's when I kind of really got to know him. He would always have that mic, always be ready to go. And to see him now where he's at and how our friendship has blossomed and the respect that we have for each other, you know, behind the scenes, we're on the phone a lot, you and I, you know, we talk a lot. And it's just great to see him climb this mountain because, again, just like what I do, it's passion. This man has passion for what he does. He's climbing mountains because of the passion.
It's one of the worst developments in the history of this city as far as the media is concerned. That Greg Braggs has somehow figured out a way to slither his way through like the snake that he is. But he did it the right way.
Yes, he did.
You
Congratulations.
find your way with the people. You know,
you
that's
guys,
what it's about, the power of the people.
The power of the people, man. And, you know, I heard you say you're just at about 70,000 now, right? And you guys
we're getting close, 6,000. Look at that.
It's getting there, yeah. I mean, that's great for
30?
you guys to have this great rise, too. You know, I mean, I have friends in Tampa that listen to you guys. Baltimore. When I'm traveling around the league, Like they talk about CHGO, man. So you guys are really getting out there. How long have you guys been doing this now?
It's almost 3 years coming up on now, and it's been amazing.
It
and
is
the
amazing.
teams haven't been great,
Right.
across the board.
Yep.
I think we have one playoff appearance amongst every single team we cover, whether it's basketball, football, baseball, hockey. But the community in our chat, right now, the 1,000+ people watching, it's a testament to what we're building. And it's the same thing you've built. It's a community. And so that's why our relationship with CHGO and the Chicago Bears Tailgating Club was a natural fit, because it's all about community. Absolutely. And we're close to 70,000 here on our subscribers, and we appreciate every single one of those. And obviously we appreciate you, because when we first started doing our tailgate, not knowing what we wanted to do or how we wanted to do it, the first year we were in a lot by ourselves. But that wasn't a tailgate. That wasn't the vibe that we want our fans and our viewers to see when they come and hang out with us. We want them to be a part of the action, and the action is what you've created. And as I've always said, if we as a company want to be a gold standard for fans to take in content, then our tailgating needs to be a gold standard. And there's nobody that's ever going to top what you've built here in Chicago. I think it's a long time before they ever move to Arlington Heights, so I don't think we have to worry about that.
We're not going to Arlington Heights
anytime soon, and I don't think Kevin Warren, if he has it his way, is going to leave the city of Chicago. But
we'll see. Something he is fighting for the city. He really wants it here, it seems like.
So at the end of the day, I just think that it's just something special, and we are grateful to you for letting us be a part of what you guys are doing. And then obviously Tailgater, helping bridge this connect.
Absolutely.
Like it all works together, and it's a special thing. And the numbers for our tailgates each week, the amount of people that come out is growing every single week. So it's awesome, and we appreciate you for letting us be involved in the community you've built over these decades.
I want to get the coat that you wear too, Tim. That you're not wearing it today.
The blazer,
the Bears blazer is phenomenal. Yeah. And I see on here that.
And then
scroll to the bottom there. We've got Paul, who's coming in from Baltimore. Mercedes is coming in from South Florida right now, and we appreciate everybody coming from everywhere.
And one more plug: make sure if you're on Facebook, they have a Facebook page called the Chicago Bears Tailgating Club.
Yes, we do.
And it's a good community, and where you can get different updates of different things going on, because they don't just do stuff at home; they'll go on the road to a lot of stuff as well. So we're always here to promote what these guys are doing, and so make sure you follow that page on Facebook. Make sure you come out to our tailgate here on Sunday and every home game. If you go to allchgo.com/events, you can find those tickets for our CHGO tailgate in the Chicago Bears Tailgating Club at the corner of Wabash and Cermak.
allchgo.com/events. Tim, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Why don't you hang out while we talk to the community and our
do some super chats.
Our super chats from today. Thank you to everybody who super chatted. Let's start with Birdie Firm. What's up, Birdie? $1.99. Does this thing work? Indeed, it does, Birdie. Thank you. It works, Birdie. Congratulations. You tried it. You figured it out. You are smarter than the average Brags.
You
right.
had
Hector Zambrano. Probably no relation to Carlos, but I love that last name. Regardless, $5. Thomas Brown could be the next Mike Tomlin. Only difference is offense. I hope you're right, Hector. We all do. It'll be very interesting to see how this thing goes forward. MKE Saint, couple of dollars. Did you guys hear Xavier McKinney's comments on DJ? We did. We should have talked about that today. That's a miss on our part that we didn't bring that up, MKE. I'll point the thumb at myself on that. But he basically was like, I've never seen anything like this, a player giving up on his quarterback.
You got the exact quote?
He said, this dude walked out on his quarterback, McKinney said of DJ Moore. I've been playing football for 5 years now, and I've been watching football for longer than that, and I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. You're supposed to be the guy, and you're just walking off the field. You're walking off the field on a rookie quarterback that you've been praising. So it's like, what? That's a whole nother story. And then when he was asked, like, hey, well, DJ Moore might have walked off because of his injury, McKinney said, cap. That's what I say, cap. So Xavier McKinney with some strong words against DJ Moore there.
Yeah, we'll talk about it more on pregame on Sunday, but the bottom line is if that does not get the Bears motivated, nothing will. He is straight talking out about one of your best players, and by the way,
trying to create division.
No, we're familiar with that. But look, can anybody really argue with what he said? I can't. Do you want to?
There's no argument there.
It's really no argument.
No.
He named it. So hopefully the Bears just need to be better. Back to Bernie Fern, who has figured it out. Digging the hat, where is it from?
I don't know. I got it at the
He
Bears store.
He gets it at every place where he can overpay for everything he overpays for. Gift shop. Wardrobe that she has.
Meanwhile, you stole your clothes from a hobo. Next super
That's
chat.
correct. That's right. I'm not Pop. What's up, Pop? Did I?
He is Pop. He's just saying he's not Pop.
It took it took a meeting of George, Kevin, Poles, and Eberflus to fire the OC and OC only. Why do we think the GM gets to just fire the head coach? We know who the ownership is, right? If you're making the case here, I'm not Pop, which I think you are, that there's not going to be a change, even if the Bears get blasted by the Packers. I think most people would agree with you that it's probably going to take to the end of the year again. Although I do think the Kevin Warren factor changes things, but maybe I'll be proven wrong. Alejandro de Jesus, what's up, Alejandro? It's my birthday today. Happy birthday. If you all want to give me a shout out, I was in my 20s the last time the Bears beat the Packers. That was 2018.
No, there's nothing happy about your birthday this year. Sorry, Alejandro.
Well, Alejandro, I disagree. It's always a beautiful thing when it's your birthday. I don't care what the situation is with the Bears right now. Also, shout out to Gary Rappaport or Gary Ross. 3 days ago or something, I saw on Facebook today was his birthday this week. We did not wish Gary a happy birthday.
Jesus.
And that's a terrible job by you. Happy birthday, Gary.
Jesus, what are we doing?
How do we miss that?
How did we miss this?
How did we miss
Why
that?
does Gary, we talk to Gary every day. He doesn't tell us it's his birthday.
It was his birthday. Happy birthday, Gary. Zero Demon, $10. My favorite stat is the Bears do not have a player on the active roster who's beaten the Packer as a Bear. LOL. Demon, we talked about that, Zero. And, yeah. 0-8 Jalen, 0-8 Cole, combined 0-16. Those are your longest tenured Bears in this win streak. Total malarkey, $20. The Bears have the opportunity to do the funniest thing ever. Fire Eberflus, bring in Mike McCarthy at head coach, then trade a first-rounder to the Packers for a fixed Malik Willis. Come on, guys. I want to see Greg Baggs make a return.
Oh, boy. I just can't. I physically can't do this anymore.
Okay, you're. I got you. $20 from Gary. Hitting my Chicago trip hard already. Can't wait till the tailgate and I guess the game. I guess. All right, Gary. Way to
go, Gary. Not Gary Rappaport. Gary Laverio,
who is in town. And Gary, we can feel your presence. I know you're out there doing things. Back to Hector Zambrano. Another $5. Patrick Scales is the last Bear to beat the Packers in 2018. Your excellent point, Hector. I was just looking at the active roster, but that's a good point.
Yeah, Frankie's asking in the chat, can you purchase tailgate tickets up until Sunday morning? Of course you can. Ticket purchases are always available live. Once again, go to allchgo.com/events. And even when you're walking up on your phone, you can purchase those tickets as you're walking up the sidewalk. So we'll be there set up bright and early. We start at 7:30 a.m. and go all the way until kickoff. So make sure you come on out, and we'll see you there.
Great weather, too, coming up on Sunday.
Yeah.
Nice day. So
it was nice last Sunday.
Yeah, we had great weather.
Yeah.
All right. I'm excited. $2 more from Hector's having a big supporting day. Appreciate it. Ricky Stromberg signing comment.
Last 2 days, we haven't even had a chance to talk about the Stromboni.
We should have talked about it more. That's another miss today. But look, the guy had a major knee surgery.
Right.
And this feels Lonzo Ballish. He had an injury settlement from the Washington Commanders. This is a long-term play. It has nothing to do with this year. He's not going to play.
Smart to put him on your practice squad and see what comes of it. I mean, they need all the help they can get on the offensive line.
It's an absolute fair spin, but I don't think it's anything to get super excited about right now. It's a low-level play. Maybe he can get healthy.
My heartbeat was completely dead, and then when they signed Ricky Stromberg, there was like one little boom, boom, but then it died again.
At least they woke you up for a minute. And lastly, closing out as always, Crystal, $5. Thanks so much, Crystal. You guys are amazing. Tim, keep up the great work. I love the tailgates. Bear down, and just a teaser, Bears win.
Well, if they do, I'll shave my head. Crystal, we'll see you at the tailgate here this Sunday. It's a special time. It's always the weather gets nicer and nicer every year, deeper into the winter. Because everybody's like, oh, I don't want to go in the cold. It's never even cold.
Never.
It doesn't even get cold till the end of the year after the football season's over, essentially. The other thing that I love about the tailgate lot is there's always a moment where everybody stops and we sing the national anthem. We had a singer last week.
Yes, we did.
You're standing at the top of the bus. Yeah. It's always a good moment. Like, you know.
A great moment. That started with our DJ, F5, veteran, and he started doing the national anthem, and they wanted me up there to say something. And it really caught fire, and it's become a tradition ever since. It's a great tradition to carry on. Police Officer Kenyatta, that's who came up and sang for us for Veterans Day. She sang at Sox Park and things like that as well.
She was amazing.
She's really amazing.
Yeah, so there's a video of it. If you scroll back on our timeline, I put it up on Sunday of her singing. So that was really cool. That's what it's all about, man. Honoring, the Chicagoans, the veterans,
That's right.
Everybody that works hard to make this country and this city what it is. And once again, thank you for everything. What do you got? What's your prediction for Sunday? Heartache, or are we going to have some fun?
There you go. You hit the nail on the head. All they have to do is have a little bit of fun. They're not having fun at all, right? This all, with the OC gone, maybe they lighten up a little bit, a few completions. Just have fun. Win or lose, I hate to say it, right? But I think that streak's going to continue. I hate to say that. I hate to say it.
Stop being pissed off at each other.
Just have fun, man. Loosen up. Let's have some fun. It's a shame that this thing broke down all the way down to now against the Packers. My opinion being that, hey, let's just play ball and have fun. We're already at the bottom. How much lower can you go as a franchise?
And I know you just started up your Tim Shanley show, right?
Thank you.
You launched that, so wanted to give you an opportunity to give a little plug on that.
Well, thank you. Yeah, production company came up. We're doing a Tim Shanley show out there. We're just having fun with little snippets of tailgates.
You go to different
like
eateries and stuff, right? You go to different lunch spots, sandwich spots. Yes. It's pretty good.
Yeah,
the production's top notch.
Yeah, that's a great company. Like I said, they came to me, which is, again, that's humbling in its own way, right? For them to have their faith in me, and we're out there trying to put it together.
Oh, yeah.
I appreciate the plug. Thank you.
Oh, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
And
32 away.
Yeah, just to shout out the tailgate from last week as we say goodbye today. Chris and Melanie from West Virginia. They were I asked them how they became Bears fans who were there last week. They said Steelers fans suck. And they were there.
Country road, take me home.
I got a lot of people to name. Please stay quiet. Can you please? Seriously, thank you. Okay, Cole Carter, who we tweeted out last week, he was amazing. Connor from Roscoe Village,
West Virginia.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, Connor from Roscoe Village, and Darius. They both work at the Marriott. They found us from the Marriott. They're front desk managers there. So if you go to the Marriott and you see Connor or you see Darius, they'll hook you up. EJ, my guy with the video who comes out every week, right?
Oh, yeah.
He's got the Bayesian jersey. He's amazing. He's going to be out for a little bit with a hip replacement. Big Dave, our guy, is his uncle, which is amazing.
Going to the game with Big Dave on Sunday.
Well, and EJ was talking about his uncle's like, how long are you going to hug me, Big Dave? Because Big Dave gives the longest hugs ever. We had a flag football world championship guy out there last week. Danny from Tampa. He flew in for his anniversary, carries his wife, born and raised in Tampa, became a Bears fan when he was 8. Ronnie G from the West Burbs came out of Bartlett last week. Alex, shout out to Alex, my guy in the Quad Cities who I talked to at length. Alex was amazing. He brought some Patriots fans there. He's been in active duty for 9 years. He was deployed to Kuwait and Iraq. He went to Wisconsin for law school, got his law degree before he enrolled in the Army. These are the type of people you meet at the tailgate. His dad was in the Navy. He's a public school teacher, played on the Illinois State hockey team. Alex, I had an amazing conversation with you, and just a great dude to meet. Jake, our guy from the Brookfield Zoo.
Yes, we might be doing some content at the Brookfield Zoo. This guy works there. He said we could do some behind-the-scenes stuff. I said we could feed Mark Carman to the Bears.
Yeah,
could you imagine?
Hang out with the Bears, yes.
Great content. Just throw him into the Bears. Let him rip him apart.
He wants to sub on the softball team. His dad, Bob Johnson, grew up rooting for Walter, 60 years old. Shout out to Jake and shout out to Bob. Bob since 85 in Northern Alberta. They're coming from Canada. Bernie, remember Bernie from last week down in Florida?
Oh, yeah.
His real name is Nick. He's getting married. Dave was in a bow tie. He's single. And Brian, they were all out there.
Not because of the bow tie.
And they went to high school with John Decker, who's one of our kingpins supporting us. John Decker, shout out to you. He's come to a ton of our events. He wears the Bears hat, that ridiculous thing he puts on his head.
Mm-hmm.
There was a Cyrus from Fort Myers, just north of Naples. Sold his food truck. He sold his food truck and he moved down to forget which island, the Grand Cayman. And by the way, Bernie became a diehard a month ago. Shout out to you, Bernie, who's getting married.
It's great.
Yeah, Rico in the Quad Cities, born and raised. Gary Fensick, a Jim McMahon fan. He's a union organizer. Rico's awesome talking to you. He goes to Kansas, Missouri, Wisconsin, Iowa, and Minnesota. And then Jake and Cindy living in Vegas. They lived in Vegas, now in Tampa. I take notes.
Community.
That's some impressive stuff right there.
Yeah, these were the people.
Great.
These are some of the people that you get to meet.
And Hoge would have cut him off like 12 names ago, but I love it because that's the attention to detail that we strive for, that Mark Carman sets the bar for. We love our fans, and we love everybody that comes out for our events, and we can't wait to see everybody at the Chicago Bears Tailgating Club on the corner of Wabash and Cermak. Once again, allchgo.com/events. Get your tickets for Sunday.
Tim, thanks for coming.
Real quick on the way out, we got White Sox at 4.
White Sox at 4.
Blackhawks pre and post.
Blackhawks pre and post.
Briggs and Brown. Briggs
and Brown premiering at 7 p.m. Central. Some really good stuff from them where they talk about the locker room, considering some of the reports about the Page and stuff. Some really good conversation.
Yeah.
Make sure you stay all the way to the end of Briggs and Brown. I won't spoil it, but it is the funniest 7 minutes that we've done so far on the Briggs and Brown show for any of them here to start this year. So really good stuff. Tune in for it.
And shout out to my guy. I'm wearing the Griffin House sweatshirt today. I'll be checking him out at Space in Evanston tonight. Guy's phenomenal. If you enjoy a singer-songwriter, one dude with a guitar singing songs that matter, make you feel good, come on out. It'll be a good time tonight. I love my guy Griffin House. One of these days he's going to come in the studio and we'll have him singing. And also, Dave Swirsky's in town next weekend.
Uh-oh.
So I'm working on getting
Sounds like a song to me. That'll get us to 80,000.
Yeah. Hey, appreciate everybody hanging out. We went a little extra.
Good week. This has been hard. Now the spirits are starting to lift. I was depressed Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, but today the spirits have
got a little ray of hope here, Thank you, man.
Thank you. Game on Sunday. Right. Let's go.
That's right.
Hey, Q Harlan, I saw you earlier in the chat about us doing a live remote at the tailgate. Maybe someday we will. The logistics of that are a little over our head right now, but maybe someday it'll happen. You never know.
And I'll send you off with this. We might suck. We absolutely suck. But never forget that Green Bay sucks. We'll see you on Sunday.
See ya.
We all silly like the mayor.